we are. Motivational Monday. Well, I tried to get motivated anyway. It's kind of hard to do when you got nothing to do all day. Well, I can't say I didn't have anything to do all day. I did a little bit of something, but it wasn't really until this afternoon that I did it. So what's up, y'all? Yep, it's me again. Yep, it's me. All right, we're gonna head home, see what's up in the world. Let's see, I don't need to stop for gas because I did that Friday. And I'm all good. Yep. So I won't be doing a video tomorrow. Well, I don't know. I got to go to the doctor's office tomorrow. I went to the doctor a while back and I had my yearly checkup, because my insurance company requires it in order to get like a discount with my group insurance at work. So I had to go to the doctor's office, pay the doctor a visit, so the doctor could make some money. I didn't do it for that reason. I just did it because it was required in order for me to get this discount. But I got a viewer. How about that? So while I was there, we went over some of my history, my health history and things like that. I used to smoke cigarettes years ago. It's been I think 14 years since I've smoked a cigarette. And I feel all right and everything. I don't really have like any of the symptoms of any serious health problems or anything with my lungs, but they still wanted me to get a chest x-ray or MRI or whatever they're calling it these days, just to make, it's kind of like an age thing. When you get my age, they want to check everything and make sure you're all good and that your face won't fall off or any of that stuff, you know what I mean? So I got to go to the doctor's tomorrow. They're going to do a chest scan. They're probably going to be looking for cancer. That would be my guess. Of course, I've never really had any problems, breathing. I played a lot of sports in school and stuff like that. And then as I got older, I was smoking. So, I got a little short on breath every once in a while, but it was no big deal. Now, I did have pneumonia back in 2020. I think it was 2020. Yeah, I had pneumonia back in 2020. Around this time of year is when it started, believe it or not. Thanksgiving Day, as a matter of fact. Back in 2020. Woke up that morning. I felt like crap. I had a low-grade fever. But I figured, well, it's just like a regular flu. And I went through the weekend, kind of sick and having a hard time catching my breath and things like that. My stepmom, Margaret, who you guys will see on here every now and then if she's watching, called me on the phone. My girlfriend was trying to get me to go to the doctor's office, to get checked out or whatever. And geez, that was almost an accident right there. Stupid people. Everybody's in a hurry to get nowhere fast these days. But anyway, so from Thursday till Tuesday, I just kind of laid around. I didn't really do a whole lot. I took some cough medicine and I was coughing, but I noticed that after I had like a coughing fit, it would take me a minute or two to catch up, to get my breath back. So I went to the MedFirst, like minor emergency place, the following Tuesday, and they told me that I had pneumonia and that I was borderline hospital. And I was like, wow, okay, So they had this. They asked me if I had the vaccine for the COVID? And I was like, no. And they were like, well, that's what you have. And I was like, oh, great. So immediately, you know, with all the hype and everything online, and, you know, with the media saying that, you know, people were getting COVID and dying, kind of freaked me out. So the doctor was like, well, you know, we've got this treatment we've been using that seems to be rather successful. Would you like to try it? And I was like, well, you know, if it'll make me feel better, okay, cool. So they wanted to do that antibody infusion, but they couldn't get me in on that Tuesday, but they had an appointment Wednesday. And I thought, okay, well, that's cool. Just do it that way then. So I went home Tuesday night, and I slept sitting up. I guess that was probably a bad mistake, because you're not supposed to do that when you get the COVID, you know. So I fell asleep sitting up, and got up the next morning. I really felt like garbage, and I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and go to the hospital, you know, and check myself in or whatever, or at least have them check me out. And I ended up on the way there, they called me and they were like, hey, you know, we got you scheduled for this antibody infusion today. You know, what time can you come? And I said, well, incidentally, I'm actually on my way there now. You freaking asshole. Why do you just pull right over my lane? Fucking dumbass. Big truck just pulled right in front of me. Well, anyway. These guys, I swear, they bitch about us doing shit like that in four-wheelers. Jeez. Anyway, so I went and had the antibody infusion done. You know, I was already on my way there, and I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and go on in. So they hooked me up on this IV bag, you know, for this infusion thing. And I don't know, I guess I was probably there a couple hours. And then I went home, and it made me kind of tired. You know, it's not, you don't sit around usually with a needle in your arm for, you know, a couple hours. So, I mean, I was pretty drained. Plus, I was sick. And at this point, I really couldn't eat anything. And, I just had no appetite whatsoever. I wasn't really drinking anything. God, it's hot in here. Turn this down a little bit. Wow. So, I got home. I kind of sat around relaxing and stuff. And then when I went to bed, well, I didn't go to bed. I actually fell asleep sitting up again. And I was watching TV. And I woke up. It was probably around, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that. And I couldn't breathe. Now, knowing that I had taken this antibody infusion thing, you know, I thought, well, you know, maybe things, this is part of it. So, but I was sweating profusely, and I felt like shit. So, I wake my girlfriend up, fiance D, and I have her take me to the emergency room. They drop me off. They put me in a room. And first thing they did was, you know, swab my nose again. I'd already had it done once, so they swabbed me again. And, you know, I guess they just wanted to verify what it was that I had. And they asked me, had I been seen yet? And I told them, yeah. And they asked me, had I been treated yet? And I told them, yeah. And then they put me on oxygen. So, I don't know, I lay there for like what seemed like forever. Well, finally they took me up to, they put me in a wheelchair, wheeled me over, and I had an MRI done. And they put me back on the oxygen, put me back in the room. And I guess I fell asleep. The light was off. And they had asked me if I wanted a blanket, and I was like, yeah, bring me like 3 or 4. So they brought me some blankets, and I laid there. And I think it was like daybreak when they finally decided to put me in a room. So, you know, they had like the paper outfit, 2 masks, and the freaking face shield, and, you know, a fucking thing on their hair or whatever, and like rubber gloves. I mean, They looked like a bunch of like well, I looked like a lab experiment or something. They were afraid to get too close to me or breathe my same air or whatever. So the next morning, I did manage to sleep like maybe an hour. They kept telling me, no, don't lay on your back, lay on your sides if you can. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever slept in a hospital bed. But sleeping in a hospital bed is not my idea of fun. So I did manage to get like an hour, maybe two of sleep, and then, I don't know, I guess it was like daybreak. You know, the sun was up pretty good. It started getting hot in my room because the sun was, you know, beaming down. The one window or the one wall in my room was all glass. So I guess it was collecting the heat from the sun. So it was like super hot in there at first. And there was a fan, like one of those industrial fans that was blowing out the window. Films from them or whatever. Anyway, walks in this little Oriental girl. Her name was Dr. Chang. Dr. Chang was the infectious disease lady. And med first or whatever it was. What, did I lose my signal? It says I'm live. Did I lose my signal or something? Anyway, so she starts talking about all this stuff, and she's like, well, you know, we just want to know that, you know, if you get to where you can't breathe on your own, you know, can we put you on oxygen or be on a ventilator? And I was like, hell no, don't put me on no fucking ventilator. Are you crazy? I don't want a ventilator. I'll die for sure. And she kind of looked at me funny, right? So she goes, well, you know, we've got this experimental drug we're using. We want to know if we can give it to you. And I was like, if it's experimental, hell no, you're not giving it to me. Now, the only reason I did the infusion was because I did some research on that antibody infusion. The antibody infusion is used on cancer patients. And it was also, it was, you know, there was no like really bad side effects or anything from it. And it was pretty successful as far as the cancer, people that had the antibody infusion with cancer. So that was the only reason I went through with that. Now getting back to what I was talking about. So when she leaves, about a half hour later, this Indian guy comes in. His name is Dr. Ponti. And, you know, he starts talking to me about, you know, have you had the vaccine? That's the first thing he did, was he brought up the vaccine. I was like, look, dude, I've already had the antibody infusion. I'm not taking any vaccine. If anything, you know, especially since I've taken this antibody infusion, it's just going to make things worse, right? So he's like, oh, you know, it's safe, and I took it and all this other bullshit. And I'm like, look, dude, I do not want the vaccine. And I said, do not give me remdesivir. And if it comes to the point that I can't breathe, just leave me be, because I do not want to be on remdesivir, first of all, and I don't want to be put on a ventilator, period. I don't care what you think is right. I'll sign the no resuscitation clause right now. I do not want to be put on a ventilator. So like the infectious lady, the infectious disease lady, her attitude changed completely from that moment on. You know what I mean? She was like, whenever she would come in the room, you know, she would come in and check on me periodically throughout the day. So when she would come in my room, you know, she'd say like, open up your, I had one of those like freaking backless gowns on, you know, and she would say, okay, I'm going to do your, you know, I'm going to listen to your heart. She wouldn't even put the stethoscope on me. I mean, this is how afraid this woman was of whatever it is I had. They want to say it was COVID, but you know, it was I'll give them that. It was pneumonia, first of all, but I don't know about this COVID thing. I think they were just using that to get money from the government, because at that time, the government was giving money for, first of all, diagnosis of having COVID, and number two, people dying from COVID. They were getting money for that as well. Now, I don't know what the arrangement was, and I can't prove that that's what they were trying to do with me, but all I knew is that the things that they wanted to do, I didn't want to do. So they had me on this oxygen, and they were giving me like I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 milliliters per something or other. I don't know, like a constant flow. And but I noticed that, on this oxygen, I felt a little better. They came in a couple times and asked me if I wanted to eat, and I still didn't have an appetite at this point. I don't think it was like till Thursday night I actually tried to eat, and I think I ate like a couple pieces of bacon. I was craving fruit, even though I wasn't really hungry. I wanted fruit for some reason, so I told them, yeah, bring me some fruit and some juice, and they brought it up for dinner or whatever, and the lady was like, oh, we're having spare ribs tonight, and I was like, I don't know about all that. It was this really young nurse that came in. Of course, she had the whole get up with the mask and the shield and the gloves and the paper suit and everything like that. But she was real nice, and she kind of explained to me, look, I'm your nurse for the night. If you need anything, give me a holler. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of your needs as much as I can. At this point right now, we just want to make sure that you get better, and we keep you comfortable, and we encourage people to try and eat, because when you eat, it kind of helps your body. Nourish itself so that it can fight off any kind of infections you have, right? So I'm like, okay. I guess I'll try some of your ribs, and I think I ate like 2 bites and I just couldn't eat anymore. Now that was Thursday night, so they came in a little later after the dinner was supposed to be over and everything, and they were like, well, what do you want for breakfast in the morning? I was like, well, I really like the fruit, and I tried to eat as much of it as I can, so if you would just bring me some more fruit, cantaloupe or muskmelon or strawberries or whatever it is you have, and I'll try some bacon and eggs. And I think I ate maybe like 1 piece of bacon and wasted the rest, because the bacon, I tasted it, it was good, but I couldn't stomach it. My freaking appetite was just completely destroyed. So but I remember, like, that Wednesday night, now this was Thursday when all this was going on with the breakfast. Wednesday night, like after my dinner and everything, I remember, watching TV. They got the closed circuit TV or whatever in the hospitals. So I was watching, I don't know, like the Last Rodeo Star or something like that. They do tricks on these little pony horses. That was pretty cool. I ended up watching a movie that I'd seen 1,000 times, but I still like it. A movie called Point Break. It's got Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves and a couple other people in it. Gary Busey's in it, and a couple other good actors. And so I ended up watching that. I think I only watched bits and pieces because I was kind of in and out all night long. You know what I mean? But I did manage to roll over a couple of times. And, I had a night nurse come in, and she was like, well, maybe you should take a shower. Maybe that'll make you feel better. I said, well, I'll do that tomorrow. And she said, well, you let me know, and I'll come help you. And I said, okay, fine. So now Thursday, like I said, I ordered bacon and eggs. I think I ate like 1 piece of bacon, and I drank all my juice. They gave me orange juice, so I drank all that. And then, but I was alone a lot, right? A priest came in and talked to me. It's never good when a priest comes in and talks to you in the hospital. And he was kind of asking me what was going on. Now, the priest was really cool because when he came in, he didn't have anything on. He didn't have the paper bodysuit, the mask, the shield, the thing on his hair, or any gloves or anything. He came in as a priest, which I thought was like the coolest thing in the world, because that's what priests should have been doing in the churches. Instead, they closed the churches, or at least the St. Louis Diocese did anyway. They closed all the churches and they cut people off from each other. And, there was one priest that was doing like outside services or outside mass of people in their cars. And he got in trouble for that, So the St. Louis Diocese, of the Catholic Diocese, as far as I'm concerned, didn't handle the situation very well. So anyway, so later in the day, my doctor came to see me, and he was like, what's going on with you today? How you feeling? And that kind of thing. And I was like, well, I'm doing pretty good. I was starting to get a little energy back. I think maybe it was because that antibody infusion was working. And I remember having to go to the bathroom really bad. Now I was able to get up and walk on my own. And I remember having to go to the bathroom real bad. So I did. And, I felt like much better after that. It was like from that point on, things started looking up and looking better. Yeah, or at least I started feeling better anyway. And I was telling the nurse the next time she came in, because she asked me, have you used the bathroom today? Have you drank any water? I tried to drink as much water as I could, but water tasted really funny to me. It's almost like I could taste the oxidation in the pipes, because copper pipes, they oxidate. And if you've ever seen these copper pipes, when they've had water in a long time and they turn kind of green, well, that's basically like that green is what I was tasting at that time. It's almost like oxidation or calcium or something in the water. It just didn't taste right. But I did. It was cold, and it felt good to drink water, to replenish my fluids or whatever. God, it's dark in here. I'm sorry, guys. It's like almost 5 o'clock. I'm doing a live, and I'm driving my car, and so it's dark, and I'm sorry about that. I know people aren't going to stay very long. I don't want to turn my interior light on, because if I do, I might get pulled over. But anyway, so I'm here. They had a cardiologist or a pulmonary lady come in and talk to me Thursday afternoon, and they were talking about sending me home already. And I was like, wow, I must be making some good progress, They said, but they wanted me to try and eat a whole meal, and there was a couple other things they wanted to reduce my oxygen, just to kind of see how I did, on a lower dose of oxygen. So they put me down to like 3 milliliters or however it is they measure the oxygen. And then, so for dinner, I ordered a chicken noodle soup and a Sprite and a grilled cheese sandwich. And they brought it to me. And I ate it all, believe it or not. I really didn't feel like eating, but I felt like if I made myself eat, that it might make me feel a little better. So I did. I ate everything. I had a little hard time getting through the grilled cheese sandwich, because it felt like rubber in my mouth. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how many of you guys smoke weed or whatever, but when you get real bad cotton mouth and you eat something that's kind of dry anyway, it turns into paste. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how that grilled cheese sandwich tasted. And the only reason I know this, guys, is because I used to smoke a lot of weed back in the day. But anyway, so I did pretty good all through the night. I did manage to take a shower, and the lady that was going to help me take a shower came in, and she made sure that I had everything I needed, washcloth and towel and all that. And she's like, she helped me walk into the bathroom. Now I still had the robe on, so there wasn't, it wasn't like embarrassing for me or anything, but I just wasn't used to having to have somebody walk me around. And I told the lady, I was like, look, I'm okay, I can do this. So I got in the shower, and I was in there probably, 20 minutes or so. The water felt really, really good. I love the water pressure at the hospital. That was like the highlight of my trip to the hospital, was the water pressure. But after I got finished, I started feeling a lot better. And then like Friday morning, they had the team of doctors came in, and that freaking Chang woman, she still wouldn't touch me, with her stethoscope to listen to my heart or whatever, or my lungs. And I don't think that, like, I don't think it was really like an infection like you get with bronchitis. You know, usually when you get like a bronchitis type infection and you cough, your lungs, you smell like, I mean, you hear like the crackling and popping in your lungs, and then you can kind of taste the infection. Well, that wasn't going on with me. I didn't taste the infection, and it wasn't cracking and popping, you know, like a bacteria infection. It was a little, it was almost like a dry cough, you know what I mean? So um so my team of doctors came in and they were like, you know, we're going to talk about letting you loose here, you know, the next day or so. We're going to see how you do for, you know, such and such hours, and you know, just kind of see how your appetite is and everything. Well, by this time, after they came in, I had already eaten, you know, a little bit, breakfast. They gave me bacon and eggs again, and you know, I felt pretty decent. But they wanted a cardiologist and a pulmonary person to come in and talk to me, and they did some like testing. So they had me on this like really long hose that was connected to the wall that was feeding me oxygen, and then they turned it down to like 1 milliliter or however it is they measure it, and had me walk around with the oxygen on. And then they took the oxygen off and wanted me to keep walking around and see if I get out of breath and everything. Well, I was still getting out of breath a little bit. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Working man. But anyway, they had me walking around a little bit. And I did pretty good, I guess, because they gave me the pass to go home. She said, well, we're not going to send you home today, but we'll send you home, you know, Saturday morning. So I thought, well, this is cool. So, you know, I was really looking forward to coming home. And like the first thing I did when I got home, I wanted a Twinkie really bad. So when I got home, the first thing I did was grab a Twinkie and I ate it. And it was one of those strawberry filled Twinkies. Those things are like really excellent. But anyway, I had one of those and it was awesome. And that's kind of my experience, you know, with the pandemic, COVID, pneumonia, whatever the fuck it was I had. It wasn't, I don't want to say it was like, I guess at times it was kind of scary, but it didn't bother me as bad, you know, as if like I would have had a heart attack or something, you know. Let me turn on some lights so you guys can see here, if I can figure out how to do this. There we go. There's some light. How about that? Hello, world. I'm in here. I promise I am. Anyway, God, it's dark out. It's like, it's only 5 o'clock and it's freaking, it's dark. Anyway, I got interrupted. My phone went from my car network to my house Wi-Fi just then, so I lost my signal. I'm sorry, guys. I really hate that happened to me. But anyway, so I started to eat them, especially, man. When you're in a hospital and you can't, you know, go outside of a room. I mean, you got to figure I was in this room for like 72 hours. You know what I mean? And nobody would come in there. They weren't allowing visitors either, and that really sucked. You know, and the only people that I were seeing were all medical professionals, and they were all doing the whole mask and shield, you know, the face shield and the thing on their head and the rubber gloves and the paper outfit and all that good shit. And it just really, it made me really appreciate the fact that, you know, number one, I'm American. Number two, that, you know, I do have freedom. So when I got home, like I said, the first thing I did was eat a Twinkie, and so I kind of took it easy the rest of the day. But I wanted to go out and explore because I hadn't been able to do that, and I wanted to get out and just do something just because I could. So I piled in the car with my fiance, and she was like, "Well, do you want me to drive?" And I was like, "No, I can drive. I'll be fine." And we drove out to Alton, Illinois, and went from there down what they call the River Road. and went over to a town called Grafton, Illinois, which is about 10 miles. It's really pretty through there, you know, when you're riding a motorcycle. But I wanted to make that trip, and what I wanted to do was ride the ferry, but unfortunately the ferry wasn't running that day. So we turned around and came home. But I mean, it was just, you know, the fact that for, you know, at least 3.5 days, you know, when you in a room and all you have to do is think, you know, and you think about your situation and you think about how it could turn out versus how it did, it kind of gives you a new sense of being, I guess you could say. But anyway, so that's my experience. Oh man, I got a vehicle software update is available. I guess I'm gonna have to do this. Anyway, I'm gonna take off. I was kind of waiting on Magameet to come in from California, but he didn't show up, so I guess we'll do this again another time. You guys take it easy. Everybody have a good evening out there. Enjoy yourself. If you missed my live feed, you can go back to the beginning, watch it from the beginning. I don't know how interesting any of you'll find it to be, but I find that you know, when I talk about some of my life experiences, sometimes it might help somebody else, you know, understand theirs a little better. But anyway, you guys take it easy. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. Just tap the screen twice, or give me a thumbs up or something. Or you can also subscribe. I think it's down there or up here somewhere. Right in here, there should be a subscribe button. I'm not sure where they put the thing because I'm not looking at the same screen you are. And it varies, you know, like from when you're on a PC versus when you're on a cell phone. So anyway, I say I got 3 viewers now. I don't know who you guys want to shout out real quick? I'll give you a free shout out. A lot of people jump right on that. You know, it'd be really nice to do some interaction with some people. So anybody want to shout out? Just type something in there. I'll say your name. Won't cost you anything. All right. But you guys take it easy. I'm going to head out. I'll be back again on Wednesday. Wednesday is a work day for me. I'm off, like I said, tomorrow. I got to go to the doctor's office. So maybe we can cover some of that stuff I did at the doctor's. And we'll see you Wednesday afternoon. You guys enjoy yourselves. Be safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon. Pieces.